Welcome back everyone to Illini Fighting Illini Dynasty here on NCAA 14 as we have a lot to talk about this episode. Recruiting update, preview for next episode, which of course will be at number 1 Ohio State, who's only lost 2 games the past 2 seasons, both of which to Illinois. We'll talk about their history in a little bit, as well as a 1/3 of the season recap, as both teams are 1/3 through the season, and we're not at the beginning of the season anymore. This is the juice of the college football season. So looking at Illinois and Ohio State, Herbstreit's actually picking Illinois, which I kind of see why, which we'll mention in a second. But Illinois' offense and Ohio State's offense have been great, but especially the passing offense. Illinois' pass offense is number 4, and Ohio State's is number 3. Illinois' defense not quite as good as it was last year, and Ohio State they have the best defense in college football. Ohio State has just been a juggernaut these past few years, and Illinois is 2-1 against them ever since Eric Fisher joined Illinois. That one loss was probably his worst game of his career. So, looking at some stats, we'll look at both teams, and the reason why I'm not surprised Herbstreit is picking Illinois is, Ohio State's worse than they were last year, but Sean Jackson is hurt. Sean Jackson has been so phenomenal the past 2 seasons. Looking at his stats, he's been incredible. He won the Heisman last year. He was putting in another Heisman season this year. More yards per game. Only 1 interception. Last year he had 3. Well, only one of those was in the regular season. He threw one in the Big Ten championship game, which was caught by Melvin Washington. And then he threw one in the bowl game, which they won against, I believe, Virginia Tech. But John Jackson, he was playing phenomenal and he got hurt. Derek Patterson is not a bad player either, but it's very hard to replace last year's Heisman winner, Sean Jackson. Running the ball, Carlos Turner is their new running back. I forget who their running back was last year, but I guess he's not there. They also have James Washington, who was a great kick returner earlier in his career. I don't know if he's still returning kicks. Okay, he only has 3 this year. Okay, so he's not returning punts at all this year, and he only has 3 kick returns, so I guess not as much. Receiving, they're worse. They lost Antonio Steele. It's just a common theme that this team is not the same as where last year. On defense, they lost Marshawn Lattimore and Malik Hooker, who were both really good. And see, they have a 70 overall center starting. Last year, they had the Remington Award winner starting at center. Their defense, it's number 1, even without Hooker and Lattimore. They're both really, really good players, so it's a big loss for Ohio State as the game is glitching. So, let's take a look at Illinois. Illinois has played Florida at Florida. They're okay. San Jose State, they're not really good. Michigan, which they honestly should have lost that game. And then Penn State, which Penn State had a pretty good second half. But Eric Fisher, he's had a historic start to the season. Almost 200 passer rating. 1,300 yards, 16 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Looking at the yards per game, that is skyrocketed up from his first 2 years. And Eric Fisher, he's never thrown a lot of interceptions. He threw one every other game last year. And his freshman year, he only threw 10. So interceptions have never been an issue for Eric Fisher. But this year, that's just been on another level with the 0. And then Ayo Dosunmu's thrown 3 passes. The running game has been interesting with Illinois. Rivero started week 1. Darius Shrub then took over, and he's started ever since. And he's been solid. He hasn't been great, but he's played pretty good. Cedric Bailey, he's getting some playing time as well. And I hate the logic in this game where if you go out of the pocket and get sacked, it counts as a loss of rushing yards. I just don't get that. Receiving, Kyle Davis, the freshman, has been phenomenal. Week 1, he caught 4 touchdowns, and obviously he hasn't played as good as he did week 1, but he has still been phenomenal. He's getting, ever since then, he's gotten about 100 yards a game, and he's still playing some really good football. Jackson Kelly, having a very Jackson Kelly-like season. His stats may go down a little bit with Kyle Davis, as his first 2 years as a starter, Jackson Kelly, he didn't have someone like Kyle Davis on his team, like Dan Cook, Derek Hall, Malik Turner. They were good players, but Kyle Davis has put up better production. Quayshawn Lawson played pretty good. Daniel Barnes had a really good game against Penn State. The blocking has been solid. The offensive line is not great by any means, which is a little bit of a concern for Illinois, is they're not finding many guys that really want to come with recruiting who are offensive linemen. Defensively, Marcus Miller, he played really well week 1. All 4 of those sacks were week 1. He hasn't quite been as good. Matt Fox, I believe he has an interception. He has 2. Billy Ashely, He had a lot of shoes to fill with replacing Delshon Phillips, who is arguably the best defensive player in college football last year, and Billy Ashely has been great. 3 interceptions, 21 tackles, and 2 sacks. Charles Cook, does he have an interception? No, he doesn't. Brandon Booth, I believe he has an interception, but, the Penn State quarterback just threw it right to him. Derek Shaw's playing alright. Melvin Washington's playing pretty good. Aaron Burns has an interception. James Landry's been David Jenkins has been alright. Doug White, I want to see more from Doug White. He's the 3rd best player in the country, or he was, and as a freshman, I want to see a little more. Considering he's starting Chris Wright, he has an interception. Kicking, Brett Charles has been better than Akeem Manson, and it's not even close. 23 for 23 from extra points. He's only attempted 3 field goals, which is a little surprising. He's made 2 of them. He's made every extra point. I don't think any kickers kicked more extra points than that, and teams have probably played more than 4 games. A lot of teams since we're in week 7. Punting, or not kick returning. Punting, Jonathan Haynes has been pretty good. Kick returning, it's been Washington and Bailey. Punt returning, it's been Washington. It's Washington, his first 2 years, he's only been really a corner, but this year I feel like Illinois wants to use him more on special teams, even on offense a little bit as maybe a receiver. So we sort of did a mini preview. We looked at some stats, but now it is recruiting time. A lot of big-name players want to come to Illinois. Of course, they are now a 6-star prestige. They just won the national championship last year. And let's start with the number 2 player in the country, Darius Young, the best athlete, the best player in the country is a tight end. He's like an 84 overall. He looks pretty OP, but Illinois is going to be pretty good with tight end for a little bit. Even though Jackson Kelly's a senior, they will have Kyle Busch stepping in the next 2 years. And Kyle Busch, he's not great by any means, but he's not awful. Looking at Darius Young, he's probably a running back. Running back isn't the biggest need, but a running back of Cedric Bailey, Darius Shrub, and Darius Young, that looks pretty nice. That would not be a bad backfield. Probably get redshirted next year, and it would just be Shrub and Bailey. Of course, Maurice Rivera is a senior, so not included in any future plans. Ryan Gray, I believe he's a top 10 athlete, even though he's only a 74. And he's a safety. He's definitely a safety. Big need for Illinois. Charles Cook and Brandon Booth are both seniors. Outside of that, Tariq Brown, Anthony Norwood, none of them are super special. They'll both be redshirt juniors next year, as Brown's a redshirt sophomore, and Norwood, who is a JUCO, was he a gem? I'm not sure, but he was a JUCO. He's getting redshirted this year. Ben Nice, one of the custom recruits, he's going to go to Syracuse or UConn most likely. Another one of the custom recruits, Cannon Bro, probably going to go to Boise State. Colonel Sanders, another one of the custom recruits, Tennessee, Missouri, and Western Kentucky are teams. He's probably going to go to Shaquan Carter. Another custom recruit has it down to most likely Virginia Tech, Illinois, Vanderbilt, and Eastern Michigan. Chewy Jackson, it's awfully close between Syracuse and Notre Dame. Greg Terry, he's probably going to go to Vanderbilt or Michigan State, maybe Missouri. Kyle Cole, he's not a custom recruit. All the guys above him, from Ben Nice to Greg Terry, were. He's probably going to go to Vandy. Usain Bolt, custom recruit. Probably going to go to Illinois. Same with this custom recruit. Dilly. Connor McCauley, another custom recruit. He's probably going to go to Tennessee. Reggie Kelly, Jackson Kelly's black brother, going to go to Cincy or Toledo. Joey Williamson, a player that Illinois really wants. They don't need defensive ends because they have James Landry and Doug White, but he could potentially be a linebacker. He's not gigantic, 6'4", 242. If he has good zone coverage, then that could be a good spot, as they do need outside linebackers. Derek Shaw and Marcus Miller are both seniors. Graham Bell, going to go to Michigan State or Michigan. Lance Payne, defensive tackle, is a big need for Illinois. There are plenty of guys here, so they don't need the 5-star player. He's going to go to Oklahoma State, Baylor, or Texas A&M. Brian Mitchell, Illinois has a pretty steady lead with him, but he is 41% locked, so he's not too locked yet. Jared Jackson's going to go to Oregon State, Northwestern, or Idaho. Brandon Barber is probably going to go to Western Kentucky, Baylor, or Texas A&M. Tyler White, player that Illinois does want, he's going to go to Georgia Tech or Illinois. Quentin Fisher, the brother of superstar quarterback Eric Fisher, has currently Illinois in the lead. Barrett Ball, this is a player Illinois really wants. Of course, I said Marcus Miller and Derek Shaw are both seniors, so outside linebacker is a huge position of need, and it's not going to be impossible to get Barrett Ball. Illinois is 4th. Hank Harrison, I said they need safeties, and it is very close with many teams. He has 6 teams probably going to be in the cutoff, and he's 99% locked. Probably not going to go to Illinois, or not Illinois, Indiana, excuse me. The teams he might go to are Kentucky, Western Virginia, Illinois, Kent State, or Boston College. Illinois would be glad to have him since they need safeties. Another safety, Ace Gables. Same thing. They need a safety. Pretty simple. Steve Mendoza. Also, by the way, these two are custom recruits, and so is Quentin Fisher. I made Quentin Fisher, and Harrison and Gables are both custom recruits. I don't think anyone down here is a custom recruit. No. So, Steve Mendoza. He's probably a safety. Maybe a corner. He looks pretty raw, but that's not bad at all. Carlos Easley, probably not going to go to Illinois. Joe Rooney, he's definitely a safety. If he can get that man coverage up, he could become a corner. And Illinois, looking at all these recruits, plenty of these guys are safeties. So a lot of these guys are probably going to become corners. Same thing with Tyrone Duncan, even though he's clearly a safety. He's probably too good of a safety to just move to corner. Because 80 zone coverage, 69 man, he's probably a safety. Matt Brown, Illinois, could use a middle linebacker. Probably redshirting Brown next year would be a good idea. And then putting him in Billy Ashely as Aaron Burns is a junior. Stephen Gray, he's okay. Illinois, they wanted to look for guys who aren't locked, and they found two. The first one is punter Jermaine Bush, as Jonathan Hand's okay, but Jermaine Bush is an 84 overall. And then the second one is cornerback Paul Tyson. They obviously need a corner, and he's a gem. 88 man, 84 zone, 82 press, 92 speed. Those stats are actually ridiculous for a freshman. So Illinois, they're going to go heavy after these two guys, but they're not too concerned yet, as of course they are both not locked at all. Also, these two are the first custom recruits to commit somewhere. Tyson Umeth from Tree Stumps 21, I believe, is headed to Iowa. And Will Bryant, I forget who made him. I'll probably put the guy's name on the screen. He's going to Georgia. So that's pretty much it. I feel like I talked really fast there because I wanted to cram it all in. Because I don't want this video to be too long because y'all will probably be bored. I guess we can look at the rest of college football, like top 25, Heisman, stuff like that. So Ohio State is number one. Will they be number one after this week? We'll see. Texas, Georgia Tech, West Virginia, and Kentucky. Round out the top five is Kentucky. They would have made the national championship last year if USC did not win the Pac-12 championship, by the way. Illinois at number 6. I don't know why they started number 11 after winning the Natty last year. Nebraska, Oregon, Washington, Alabama round up the top 10. And my voice is getting tired, so you guys can probably read the rest. Very thrilling stuff. Arkansas State is in the rankings. That's interesting. Teams getting votes: Michigan State, Indiana, Kansas State, Baylor, Stanford, Miami, Oklahoma State, UCLA, and Auburn. My voice is literally killing me. Conference standings. Illinois currently on top. Nebraska's 1-0 as well. So Illinois and Nebraska currently on top from the Big Ten West. Very most likely to make the Big Ten championship. Nebraska almost made it last year, but they lost. That's how Illinois made it, and that's why Illinois made and won the national championship. So if Nebraska did not lose to Iowa the week that Illinois scored 103 on New Mexico State, Illinois would not have won the national championship. I think they'd get a pretty good bowl, like a BCS bowl, but they would not have made the Natty. And then no one else probably will make the Big Ten championship. Minnesota's 0-4 in conference. And then looking at the East, two teams are currently undefeated in conference. That is Ohio State and Indiana. Indiana lost to a really good quarterback, Bryce Petty. Yes, that's his name, former Baylor player. But they're still playing really well. 4-1, 2-0 in conference. Virginia's playing, Michigan State. They're both 4-1. So we're not doing anything wrong. Same with Penn State. Michigan and Penn State lost to Illinois. They lost to a good team. And then, I don't know, Michigan State lost to. Hiccuped. They lost to Wisconsin by 1 point. So, looking at the Heisman Watch now, it's just disgusting that Eric Fisher's not here. I think it's because of his rushing stats, and that's because, according to NCAA 14, whenever you get out of a pocket and get sacked, you lose rushing yards. But Ronnie Hall, DeAndre Francois, Jerome Gatson, Sam Darnold, and Kevin Harvey are the top 5. So hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Next episode will be against Ohio State. And I need a drink of water. Peace.